When I was doing Washington Watch on TV1, that was 2009 to 2013. I can't remember the year, but Cornell Belcher, Democratic pollster, was on the show. And he said, we really need to stop talking about trying to guarantee black districts. And people were like, Cornell, what the hell are you talking about? Cornell said, he said, listen, if you look at the data, and the reality is, if black people are voting 90+% for Democrats, he said, we want power. So that means, he said, we should be looking at how do we spread African Americans out to more districts in order for us to impact the election of those members. In fact, in Texas, when Tom DeLay was in the congressional leadership, when Texas chose to do a redistricting, and normally it happens right after the census. No, they did it in the middle of that 10-year period.
Yes.
What did they do? They specifically targeted white Democrats in Texas like Martin Frost. And so their whole deal is, we're going to send more black people to Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson's district, and we're going to reduce it so Martin Frost loses. That's exactly what happened. The same thing happened in the Houston area. And so what Alabama got busted, and now they got to create this second opportunity district. And so the reality is, if you have districts that are 45, 48% African American, the black candidate is going to win. Okay, it's going to win. Now you're talking about, oh, and that's why South Carolina did this here, because Nancy Mace, before she got elected, that was a Democrat in that district. And so this is all about when Tennessee split Nashville into 4 congressional districts. Absolutely. Because they did not want to guarantee a second Democratic district in the state, because you got one in Memphis, and so that's what they did there as well. And so not only are they targeting black voters, they also are saying, we want to keep Democrats out of power, which, by the way, if Democrats are not in power in the House, that means the 58 members of the Congressional Black Caucus are not chairs of committees and subcommittees.
That's right. That's right. And it's very interesting, Roland. I'm glad you brought these examples up. There was a case, Ashcroft versus Georgia. And this case involved the creation of another congressional district in Georgia that would be majority black. And, you know, the argument was raised during orals and in the decision itself. What does black political power look like? Does it look like packing a district, as Lauren said, packing a district so that you have a black person elected, or does it look like distributing black voters across districts so that they can literally influence who is elected? So the threshold there wasn't 50% or 40%. It might be a third of the district. If black voters make up a third of the district, think coalition politics. And it might not be that a person who looks like the black voters is elected to the legislature. It could be a white person or somebody else who has those people's interests. I mean, look at Bob Brady for years in Philadelphia, in the Pennsylvania House. And when you bring that to bear in this case, you're right. The South Carolina first is Nancy Mace, who, you know, her latest demonstration of her outsized intelligence wore Hester Prynne's scarlet letter, which means she seems to have missed that in high school as some kind of political statement. She was one of the 8 people, of course, who voted to oust Kevin McCarthy and says she's being persecuted by it. I don't think you want the A for adulterer when you're trying, especially when you're dealing with Gymnasium Jordan, if you're going to start talking about ethics. But the point is this: Nancy Mace won her election in the South Carolina first by 56.4% to 42.5% in her last election. This is about politics. You don't need to put a majority black in a district to have black influence. That was the issue in Ashcroft versus Georgia, and that's why they micro-target moving us around to, as Lauren said, pack as many as you can in one district so that you can prevent that kind of influence from spreading out across several